There is turmoil among the royal family. During the reading of King Charles's dying wish at Balmoral Castle, Prince William fights back tears as Princess Anne provides the reading. It is a frightening decision that has the potential to alter everything. The tension in the palace was caused by rumors that went around the palace concerning William's involvement in the situation earlier than anticipated and Catherine's future. Is Camilla willing to accept the loss of power? Will it be possible for William to honor his father's final desire while also remaining true to his expectations for the crown? Join us as we discover what Princess Anne stated that caused the prince to struggle to contain his tears and find out what it was. It was that day when the warm summer air poured down on Balmoral Castle, and the king's greatest wish was granted. Since its inception, the magnificent Scottish estate, which is renowned for its tall stone walls and peaceful remoteness, has served as a refuge for the royal family. On this occasion, however, it became the setting for news that would shock the monarchy to its beliefs. Cars of a dark color made their way up the lengthy driveway in a sequential manner. Within the walls of the castle, employees were observing from the windows while conversing with one another. When the entire family was brought together for such an urgent matter, it was an uncommon occurrence. In spite of the fact that she is often calm and cheerful, Princess Katherine appeared to be in an exceptionally serious mood as she exited her vehicle. It was the news that she carried that would completely alter everything. Once inside the meeting room, the family gathered around a big oak table to discuss the matter. The walls were covered with paintings depicting different kings and queens from the past, their watchful eyes fixed in time. As everyone took their seats and waited, there was complete silence in the room. What was going to be stated was a mystery to everyone. The hands of Princess Katherine shook slightly as she stood up. She had been keeping this information a secret for a number of months, waiting for the appropriate moment to reveal it. With everyone's attention focused on her, she eventually broke the silence. This was the last desire that Queen Elizabeth II had for her child. The late queen had a request that she had only shared with those who were closest to her before she passed away. Astonishing news was delivered. It was Queen Elizabeth's hope that Catherine would one day govern as queen in her own right, not merely as the wife of King William, but as the monarch who was currently in power. Whispers of shock could be heard across the room. Nobody could have anticipated that this would be the future. The crown had always been passed down from a king to his son, or in extremely rare instances, to a daughter when there was no male heir. This practice had been going on for generations. The title of Queen Consort was bestowed upon any woman who married into the royal line. This position allowed her to stand next to the king, but did not give her authority. When Queen Elizabeth made her dying wish, it had the potential to alter all of that. Already struggling with his health, King Charles III watched in disbelief as the news broke. Everything that he had built his rule upon was put to the test by the decision that his mother made. Suddenly, the future that he had meticulously prepared appeared to be uncertain. As he attempted to comprehend the implications that this would have for the monarchy, his face became pale. Queen Camilla did not move from her seat at any point. Over the course of many years, she had labored to earn the acceptance of the general population, therefore overcoming the shadow of her past. She had, at long last, established herself as the Queen Consort. However, with this admission, it became clear that even Queen Elizabeth had never considered her position to be permanent. The only thing that served as a stepping stone till Catherine took the throne. A gaze of unease was shared amongst the younger royals. The expression on Prince William's face was indecipherable as he turned towards his bride. Had she been aware of this during the entire time? Prince Edward and Sophie whispered to each other as they attempted to piece together what this could possibly imply. Princess Anne, who was always focused on practical concerns, instantly examined the legal complications. Voices that were rising and dropping in tension could be heard coming from outside the conference room by the royal staff. After a number of hours, the conversation continued. Some people were in favor of the notion, pointing out how much the general public admired Catherine. Some people resisted the idea, fearing that a shift of this magnitude may potentially undermine the stability of the monarchy. After what seemed like an eternity, the family eventually emerged with exhausted expressions on their faces. Not a single decision had been made. Deep tensions had been stoked as a result of the discovery, which had also caused cracks that would not be readily repaired. In the days that followed, Communications between royal houses were conducted in a discreet manner. Conducted behind closed doors, consultations were held with solicitors and constitutional experts. After considering all of the potential outcomes, the press office of the palace drafted remarks. But none of them were made public. The Queen's last wish was kept a closely guarded secret as long as she lived. The influence was felt by a far wider audience than only Camilla and Katherine. While watching from the United States, Prince Harry and Meghan were curious about the potential impact that this could have on the position of their children in the line of succession. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie were curious about the implications of this for their respective roles within the family. Even Lady Louise Windsor and James, members of the royal family who were rarely in the public eye, were now a part of the rising uncertainty. There was no change in the way of life in London. Numerous individuals strolled by Buckingham Palace, took photographs, and waved at royal automobiles that were going by. Outside the walls of the palace, no one was aware of the tempest that was developing inside. The royal family was in the midst of a crisis that had the potential to alter its future indefinitely. One thing was very evident to each and every person in the room at Balmoral. At that point, the monarchy would never again be the same. It was the final wish of Queen Elizabeth that had put in motion a series of events that no one had anticipated. Now that they had reached this point, the family was at a crossroads, torn between change and tradition. It was not the forces from the outside that posed the biggest danger to the kingdom. Rather, it was the tensions that were gathering within its walls. However, because of the steadily increasing tensions within its walls, a greater concern is looming over the royal family as they seek to deal with the new difficulties that have arisen. If King Charles lives long enough, he will be able to witness the fulfillment of his mother's request. There is a ticking clock. While King Charles was sitting at his desk at Clarence House, examining state documents, the bright morning sunlight poured in through the tall windows of the historic building. While reaching for his pen, he felt a minor tremor in his palm, which was a small indication of the significant conflict that was taking place inside his body. As he reached the age of 76, the monarch was confronted with an adversary that neither the royal crown nor the might could easily subdue. It is cancer. In February of 2024, the news was announced. Faces filled with solemnity, the physicians delivered the diagnosis. Initially, the palace did not disclose any information about the situation, stating simply that the king was diagnosed with cancer and would immediately begin treatment. There was a sense of optimism in the public message, but behind closed doors, the situation appeared to be far more dire. On the morning of a Thursday in the month of April, the king had a troubling feeling. Side effects of the cancer treatment had begun to manifest, which caused his physicians to be more concerned. There was a rapid shift in royal plans. During the time that the monarch was being taken to the London Clinic, a private hospital that is frequently visited by wealthy and influential individuals, the staff at the palace was constantly on the phone with one another. On that particular day, street traffic in London resumed as usual. A number of tourists took photographs in front of Buckingham Palace. Employees at the office hurried to join meetings. Few people were aware that medical professionals were working to assist the king with his treatment issues while they were located in a neighboring hospital room. It appeared as though everything was going according to plan when Charles went back to Clarence House that evening and had supper with Queen Camilla. However, by morning, the plans had been altered. He was unexpectedly unable to make it to Birmingham for his visit. In a statement that was carefully disseminated, the palace mentioned the recommendation of the doctors as well as the adverse effects of the medication. Just the right amount of information to make a statement without divulging too much information. The everyday routine of the monarch has been altered ever since he was diagnosed. Before he was diagnosed with cancer, he worked from the wee hours of the morning until late into the night, reading official documents, attending events, and meeting with charitable organizations. At this point, the red boxes that contained official documents arrived with a lower frequency. His calendar, which was once jam-packed with responsibilities, suddenly had significant gaps in it. The employees of the palace also noted other alterations. Even though he was formerly brimming with enthusiasm and eager to talk about his efforts, the king now chooses his undertakings with great caution. He saved his strength by concentrating solely on the things that were most important. There was a strangely calm atmosphere in the halls of the castle, which had previously been filled with his brisk movements and spirited conversations about the environment and the construction of the city. It is uncommon for members of the royal family to discuss their health issues. Her health problems were never discussed by Queen Elizabeth II at any point. Despite the fact that she was in her final months and she was having difficulty walking, the palace pronouncements continued to be concise and positive. King Charles made a decision that was not the same. Instead of keeping his sickness a secret, he disclosed that he was suffering from cancer, although he did not disclose the specific sort of cancer he had. It was hoped by his medical professionals that this honesty could inspire others to seek assistance, and it did. Following hearing the news, thousands of individuals evaluated their symptoms or scheduled exams for themselves. Even though he was having health problems, Charles continued to fulfill some of his royal obligations. At Easter services, he stood there beaming at the audience, despite the fact that his face appeared to be slimmer. Together with Queen Camilla, he went to a cancer treatment center where he met individuals who were also battling the same disease. While he was in the army barracks in Hampshire, he engaged in conversation with the soldiers, making humorous remarks about being released from his confinement. This demonstrated that his sense of humor remained intact, even in the face of challenging circumstances. Both the spring and the summer were spent with him receiving therapy. There were days that were simpler than others. Employees of the palace were trained to read the signs. Whenever he selected a particular tie or requested a particular dinner, they were aware that he was working more than usual. They were aware that the king required rest if there was an unexpected change in the schedule of meetings or when the royal physician showed up without warning. The illness of the monarch added additional strain to a family that was already dealing with a great deal of difficulty. The Prince of Wales took on additional responsibilities while simultaneously being concerned about his father. Princess Anne made sure that royal obligations were carried out by attending ceremonies that were held in his place. In spite of the conflicts that had existed in the past, Prince Harry maintained contact with his father and inquired about his health. With the passage of time, King Charles III continued to hold his position on the throne. However, behind the closed doors of palaces and royal estates located all over the United Kingdom, preparations had begun in a discreet manner for whatever the future could hold. All eyes have been on Prince William as King Charles struggles to overcome the obstacles he is facing with his health. What strategies does he employ in order to get ready for the future, which appears to be arriving sooner than everyone anticipated? There is more to becoming a future king than simply having authority or enjoying advantages. The weight of the crown is a significant factor. It is accompanied by enormous duties that would never be removed. This is something that Prince William, who is the next in line to become king, truly comprehends more than anyone else. William's position within the royal family is becoming increasingly important as his father, King Charles, places a greater emphasis on his health. The activities that were once considered to be in the distant future are now a regular part of his life, and he is taking the initiative to manage them. All of William's life has been geared towards preparing him for this particular moment. His upbringing has been a combination of traditional ways of doing things and actual life experiences, in contrast to the previous heirs who adhered to rigorous royal protocols. After graduating from Eton, he continued his education at St. Andrews University, where he made significant academic progress. Additionally, he served in the Royal Air Force as a search and rescue pilot, a position that provided him with the opportunity to make a genuine impact on the lives of other individuals. William exerted a great deal of effort throughout all that transpired in order to construct a life that was not only about royal obligations, but also about being present for his family. It is because of these one-of-a-kind experiences that he has developed into the leader that he is today. He is someone who recognizes the significance of duty, but who also places a high value on leading a regular, balanced life. As the heir apparent to the throne, he has acquired the skills necessary to negotiate the difficulties of royal life while maintaining his connection to the world outside the palace. The amount of pressure that William is under has escalated. Considering that his father is concentrating on his health, he has taken on a greater number of obligations than he ever has before. He is now responsible for attending important state events, holding secret meetings with officials from the government, and performing important royal duties. The title of his position in the Duchy of Cornwall, which is an estate that provides funding for a variety of royal activities, is no longer sufficient. He is making decisions that have both a direct impact on the monarchy's finances and on the public's perception of the monarchy. At a time when the royal family is going through significant transitions, this transformation has taken place. Opinions of the general public are not what they used to be, particularly among younger generations that dispute the significance of public opinion. William is torn between remaining true to his heritage and adapting to a contemporary world that values openness and connection. He is committed to addressing challenges such as mental health, climate change, and homelessness, and he has accepted this challenge for himself. The result of his efforts is that he is developing a fresh perspective on the ideals that a future king ought to uphold. William is subjected to persistent pressure. Every single action that he takes is scrutinized, and others are eager to pass judgment, offer praise, or offer criticism. The media continues to report on his tense relationship with Prince Harry, which continues to be a big topic of discussion. The public is left speculating about the current state of it. Within the walls of the palace, he must also strike a balance between his rising responsibilities and maintaining the unity of the family. When he is at home, he accepts his responsibilities as a husband and a father with equal enthusiasm. In contrast to previous heirs, who prioritized their duties above everything else, he prioritizes spending time with Katherine and their 3 children. It is not simple to juggle royal duties with family life, and the difficulties increase in tandem with the demands that are placed on them. The manner in which he approaches things demonstrates how the monarchy is evolving, moving towards a leadership style that is more personal and related to people in their everyday lives. Inside the walls of the palace, advisors and officials are well aware of the significance of a changeover that goes seamlessly. The British monarchy has survived for centuries because of careful preparation and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. William has been preparing himself for leadership at a moment's notice by increasing the intensity of his training over the past few years. In order to ensure that he is prepared for whatever comes his way, he has been informed on information pertaining to matters of state, foreign policy, and military activities. William is able to maintain his composure and commitment in spite of the mounting strain. In addition to being aware of what is required of him, he is also aware of the immense responsibility that he will someday be responsible for. It is dependent on his capacity to lead with self-assurance, sound judgment, and the adaptability to accommodate shifting circumstances that the future of the monarchy will be determined. Due to the fact that they are aware that they are seeing a significant historical event, people all across the world are paying attention. Another difficulty is becoming apparent as William takes on additional responsibilities. As the situation becomes increasingly uncertain, what changes can we expect to see in Queen Camilla's role? The future of Queen Camilla is now debated. Over the course of many years, Queen Camilla exerted a great deal of effort to alter the perceptions that people had of her. She had a troubled history when she entered the royal life, but she eventually acquired acceptance over the course of time. Over the course of time, she emerged as a significant player on King Charles's side. She assumed her position as Queen Consort, standing next to him as one of his most trusted advisors, with his entire support and with his complete backing. Recent events, however, have brought about new material that has cast doubt on her future within the royal family. The consistency that Camilla had labored so diligently to establish has been thrown into disarray by a particular request made by Queen Elizabeth. It was disclosed that the late Queen had harbored the hope that Katherine, the Princess of Wales, may one day assume a more prominent position than she currently has. Camilla's position within the royal family has been called into question as a result of this. Although she is currently in possession of the title of Queen, her position appears to be less secure than it was in the past. The foundation of the British monarchy has always been tradition, and Queen Elizabeth has been instrumental in determining the course of the monarchy's destiny. She had made it abundantly apparent that Camilla ought to be referred to as Queen Consort, a term that acknowledged her status as Charles's spouse, but did not confer any authority upon her when it came to administration. The current revelation, on the other hand, implies that Elizabeth may have had a different vision for the future, one in which Katherine could someday stand up as a queen with more authority, rather than just as a supporting consort. The royal family is currently in a precarious situation as a result of this new development, which has caused tension between Camilla and Katherine that has been established. During her younger years, Camilla was considered a controversial figure. However, she had made a concerted effort to get past those years. Due to the fact that her connection with Charles had been the source of numerous scandals in the past, the general public did not readily embrace her. However, as time went on, she altered her appearance, began engaging in philanthropic activities, and eventually became a devoted supporter of the monarch. As a result of her deserving position as a valued royal, she was regarded by some as an important counselor to Charles. Camilla's status appears to be dubious at this time, however, because there is a possibility that Katherine will take on a more significant role in the future. There is a period of transition that the royal family is going through at the moment. Camilla has been an essential component of Charles's efforts to maintain stability ever since he became king, and she has been a crucial part of those efforts. As someone who provides the monarch with both personal and strategic support, she has been regarded as someone who assists the king in being grounded. This feeling of stability is being called into question by recent news, despite the fact that her presence at major royal ceremonies has made her role quite obvious. However, public opinion is also a significant factor in the way things develop. Katherine continues to be the most admired royal figure, second only to Queen Elizabeth, despite the fact that Camilla has gained more acceptance over the course of time. She has established a powerful public image by combining traditional values with contemporary concepts. There is a possibility that the balance of power within the monarchy will shift if it is indeed the case that Katherine is being prepared for a more significant leadership position. It is possible that the decisions that are taken behind the scenes will be influenced by how the general public responds to these developments. In addition to the dynamics inside the family, this event brings to light a more significant problem for the royal family. Clear succession and the faith of the people are essential to the functioning of the monarchy. Instability can be caused by any confusion regarding duties within the family, particularly during periods of transition. In order for Charles to maintain his reign, he will be required to manage these conflicts while simultaneously ensuring that the royal family remains together in the eyes of the government. At this point, Camilla's future is dependent on the way things turn out. As long as Charles continues to support her in her capacity as queen consort, she may be able to maintain her position without facing any opposition. However, if there is a greater amount of support for Katherine to take on a more significant role, Camilla might find herself being pushed to the sidelines. Due to the fact that Camilla's future is unknown, the monarchy needs to make a significant decision. Exactly which choices will determine the next step that the royal family takes. A look into the future of the monarchy. The monarchy of the United Kingdom is currently experiencing one of the most difficult periods in its history. It is difficult to predict what the future holds for the monarchy because King Charles is struggling with health problems and tensions within his family. The path that lies ahead is complex, despite the fact that the succession line is obvious. The destiny of the royal family will be determined by the decisions that are made right now. In the following order of precedence is Prince William, who is then followed by his children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. In order to maintain the monarchy's stability, a seamless handover of power is essential. Nevertheless, the situation is continuously shifting. Will may need to take on additional responsibilities sooner than anticipated if Charles's health continues to deteriorate. Concurrently, there is a growing level of speculation regarding the possibility of Katherine becoming a ruling queen, which would be a significant departure from the established norms. In order to assist him in coping with the difficulties he is experiencing, King Charles relies on a select group of trusted advisors who are located within the palace. Sir Clive Alderton is considered to be one of the most prominent figures in this group. When it comes to influencing decisions and ensuring that they are in line with the long-term objectives of the monarchy, Sir Clive plays a significant role in his capacity as the principal private secretary to the king. He is also extremely important in the management of the public image of the royal family. His counsel is more vital than it has ever been before, since there are so many significant problems at stake. While everything is going on, William and Katherine have been attempting to modernize the method in which they carry out their royal responsibilities. Despite the fact that they continue to adhere to traditions, they are concentrating on themes that are significant, such as social reasons, environmental concerns, and awareness of mental health. They have also altered the manner in which they communicate. They seek to depict themselves as approachable and involved, with the goal of ensuring that the monarchy continues to be relevant in the modern world, rather than concentrating on the glitz and glamour of royal life. Another significant obstacle that the royal family must contend with is the persistent conflict that exists between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Unresolved is the chasm that exists between the brothers, and the divergent paths that they have chosen continue to get a great deal of attention from the general public. In spite of the fact that William and Catherine continue to concentrate on their royal responsibilities, the gap between them and Harry continues to widen. The manner in which they respond to this circumstance will have a significant impact on the future of the monarchy, particularly with regard to how the general public perceives the family's capacity to maintain its unity. In addition, King Charles is adopting a different strategy with regard to his health. Historically, kings have been known to keep their medical concerns a secret. On the other hand, Charles has been truthful about his treatment for cancer. This is a significant shift that indicates that the royal family may be going in the direction of being more transparent with the general population. The way in which individuals respond to this adjustment may have an impact on the way in which the royal family addresses health issues in the future. At the age of 76, Charles is confronted with the challenging task of maintaining the stability of the monarchy while simultaneously preparing it for what lies ahead. His reign in the throne comes at a period when the royal family is faced with the challenge of balancing their responsibilities with the expectations of the general public. Some people believe that the monarchy must undergo change in order to maintain its significance, while others are concerned that an excessive amount of change could destabilize its foundations. The decisions that are made today will have repercussions for the monarchy for a considerable amount of time to come. The royal family must also consider its position within the larger Commonwealth in order to function properly. A great number of nations that continue to have the British monarch as their head of state are beginning to reevaluate their connection with the crown. As an illustration, Barbados has made the decision to no longer have the British monarch serve as their leader, and it is possible that other nations would follow suit. How the royal family responds to these changes will determine the extent of its influence around the globe. The monarchy is confronted with a number of significant issues as it looks to the future. The organization needs to figure out a way to maintain the traditions that people have come to anticipate while also adapting to the changing times. In the midst of dealing with family issues, it is necessary to preserve the trust of the general public. It will also be extremely important to consider the part that younger royals will play in determining its destiny. In the years to come, the decisions that are made will decide the course of events that will follow for the British royal family. Does the royal family have the ability to adapt to changing times, or will it eventually lose its power? As the situation evolves and tensions increase, the question arises as to who will steer the destiny of the British crown and what it will take to do so. In the comment box, please be sure to share your ideas with us. For additional content, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Furthermore, click the following video that is displayed on your computer. You are going to take pleasure in it.